Play fools, because love rules at the Lando Laravel shack. At least that's what I'm hoping is going to happen here in the next few minutes. So it's Friday. Got to get live on Friday. We're going to do some stuff. What I'm going to look at today is a Laravel 9 setup. So I noticed Laravel 9 was announced at Laracon this week. I think it was this week, earlier this week. And I also noticed that a most excellent member of the Lando community, Rory McDaniel, he did a presentation on local development with Lando at Laracon. And other than the really cool Star Trek control console styles that he has going on here, it seems like people really enjoyed this talk. And so I was curious about it. And this is actually my first time. I haven't looked through all the slides yet. And he also has a Git repo here that he put together as an example project. I think this is a Laravel 8 project, so we might have to do a little bit of updating just to get ourselves running something in Laravel 9, or maybe we'll just start fresh with his Lando file. Yeah, but I was figuring that we might just spend a few minutes here diving into it. I'm curious to see, maybe we can look at the Laravel 9 changelog and just kind of see what's new. I'm going to admit I'm not the best Laravel person in the world. I've worked on a few Laravel projects in the past. I still work on one. I'm struggling to remember if we're on 7 with that. I know it started out as a Laravel 5 project, and I think we got it up to 7, I want to say. So I don't even remember what version it's on now. But yeah, so we're going to, we'll dive into that. So yeah, disclaimer, I'm not the world's best Laravel person, but we all just got to work with the tools that we have. I'm down with that. I hope you all are too. So yeah, let's dive into this a little bit. First, I guess let's just take a look through Rory's presentation here a little bit. So he's talking about Lando. Great, I like Lando. The advantages of Lando, we're great at containerizing things. Being the easy button, sort of, for getting all your containerized infrastructure spun up and deploying that out to your team without any Docker knowledge that's required. Oh, that's nice. He says we have excellent documentation. I was just fixing some dead links on our documentation this week, so I feel like maybe it's not as excellent as advertised, but thank you, Rory. That makes me happy. And I'm sure that'll make Mike happy. He wrote most of it, so he should be the happiest person. Yeah, easy use of artisan composer. I feel like a lot of people miss this. Like the Lando tooling, I think, is one of the things that I really enjoy, because when I jump into a Lando powered project, I can just run Lando composer, Lando artisan, whatever, and it's hooked up. Whatever the project needs, I have the tools that I usually need in there. And if I'm a DevOpsy person, I can hook up those tools for the rest of my team, and they don't have to worry about installing them, or if they have a problem with their version of something conflicting with the version of the project, it's all just taken care of. Cool. So he's talking more about Lando. Let's skip ahead to the meat. Okay, so he's talking about just kind of a basic config here. Cool. And he's using the Laravel recipe that we're providing within Lando. That's awesome. Web root public, I guess it's actually, I guess that is true. That is the actual web root for a Laravel app, so that makes sense. Override recipe defaults easily. Yeah, so he's giving us an example here. He's using Nginx, PHP 8.1, Redis, that's the cache layer, database Postgres. So he's customizing some of the values that are kind of default config values on the Laravel Lando recipe. If you're ever curious about one of the recipes, they all have pretty similar config options, especially within the PHP world. But yeah, just go to the Lando docs, docs.lando.dev, and type in the name of the thing you're working on, the framework you're working on, and you'll find the recipe. And there should be a configuration session that'll show you all of the different configuration options and then give you explanations for what they actually do if you're want to know how to use these things. So super easy to usually figure out those options. Cool. Oh, cool. Yeah, he's talking about excludes. This is one of my favorite Lando features that not everyone uses. I should do just a performance talk at some point. We did a really good talk actually with our partners over at Amazy a while ago on general performance enhancing things you can do with Lando. Among other things, there's actually some really good things in there. The Amazy team brought some really awesome examples to that talk. I think if you just look up Amazy Lando advanced, maybe, yeah, um, advanced landoing with Lagoon. That's the talk joint webinar, and it's up on YouTube nowadays. So maybe I'll leave that here so I can try to remember to put it into the video notes. But what else is Rory talking about? Yeah, so excludes, what it's doing is it actually excludes the directories you define from the file sharing mechanism that shares files between your local computer. So for me, that's my Mac OS computer. That's what hosts my Docker containers, and then the actual virtualized environment that Docker is running within. Um, and when you do that, it increases the performance of your application if you're excluding, especially like large directories with lots and lots of files. It's number of files that matters. Number of files are actually getting bootstrapped is the thing that matters. So in this case, vendor node modules, these are awesome things to exclude because you're not tracking them with Git, at least you shouldn't be. And they are usually really large. They have lots of things in them. Cool. So specify additional services. It looks like he is, yeah, he's building out a couple more services here. Oh, nice. He has Horizon, he has Mailhog. This kind of gives you an idea too how extensible Lando can be. Like we don't have a Horizon service, and he's just making his own using our PHP service. So that's super awesome. Local domains, which is fun. I actually never really used this proxy settings, but that is really nice actually. So he set up for his Mailhog, which if you're not familiar with Mailhog, great tool to just catch the mail that's coming out from your application. So if your application sends emails, you're on a development environment, A, if it's on Lando by default, it's not hooked up to anything, so it's not going to send anywhere. But B, like you normally don't want it. You want to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And Mailhog is a way to actually see those emails that that otherwise would just go into the ether, would never go anywhere. Custom tooling. Oh, sweet. Okay, so he's hooking up a bunch of other. He has like a static analysis. Tooling command. Tooling is another one of these features I think we actually do talk about in that Amazy webinar that I was talking about, this advanced landoing with Lagoon. It's another one of these features that I think not a lot of people use, but super powerful. It's basically an easy way to just alias different tools that exist within your containerized environment. So you can just run something like Lando PHP stand, and it's going to actually run that command within the environment. Which is nice, as opposed to having to like SSH into a container environment and kind of know what's going on there. You can just set it up. Makes it really easy for the rest of your team if they're not people that are as savvy, maybe. Really useful. Okay, so this is him configuring up his environment. These are all, I believe, the default. These look like all the default values that Lando provides for Postgres database. So he's just hooking up his database for his Laravel app, and he's doing a demo. Okay, that's awesome. This is a really powerful presentation that he's put together here. He shared it on Twitter. You should follow him on Twitter. I think that was on his title slide here, at Rory McDaniel. You can go follow him on Twitter, and he will, you can find this presentation of his on there. But let's dive into. I would love to dive into how we can actually do this ourselves, because it's been a little while since I've spun up a plain Laravel app, and I would love to actually see Laravel 9 running. So I think I'm going to start out here. I'm going to take Rory's demo repo, local dev with Lando, Rory McDaniel / local dev with Lando. I'll try to remember to put this stuff in the video notes for everyone that's watching later. I'm going to take a look at his lando.yaml. Let's see what it's in here. Okay, it looks like all those examples that he used in his presentation are in fact in here. So that's pretty cool. We get a very, very full powered, fully armed and operational Lando file for our Laravel experience. This is definitely a lot more stuff than I would have if I was just spinning things up with our base recipe, which is neat and may actually reflect better the experience if you're a day-to-day Laravel dev. Be curious if you have, if you're somebody that has more Laravel experience than I do, I would love to hear from you and just get an idea of if this setup actually matches your day to day, or if there's other things that you're using that you would think are going to be useful in your local development setup. Yeah, let's take this file. I think I'll clone down his repo. Pump up my text size a little bit for all of us that are getting up in the ears and need assistance. We're just going to git clone this, and let the chips land where they may fall. Local dev with Lando. Okay. So we have his full repo here. I'm kind of tempted, to just take a look at his composer file and see. I should probably look at the actual install instructions / update instructions that are actually on the Laravel site, but sort of feeling a little YOLO since it's Friday. Okay, so Laravel framework, E.75. Cool. Let's go look at the Laravel site really quick. Installation. I'm sort of kind of curious if they have upgrade instructions. Okay, guide. Yeah, okay. Likelihood of impact, high. Okay, so great, we're on PHP, that's awesome. Find out, okay. 1.0, okay, so we got a bunch of dependencies we need to update, which is fine. I'm sort of curious. I'm sort of like, what I think I might do, just to start from more of a blank slate, is I think I might go and just yank his Lando file, make a directory, new directory, Laravel 9, Lando. We're going to copy over Rory's Lando file, .lando.yaml, into our new directory. Go to our directory, and I think we're just going to follow the install instructions for Laravel 9. Might just be a little cleaner. Make it easy on my feeble Laravel brain. Okay, your first level project. That's cool. I sort of want to, so that I'm assuming that's the Laravel sale is their local development, Docker orchestration stuff, which is cool. But we're going to skip that because we're using Lando. It's interesting that they don't really give you a, okay, installation beta composer. This is what we want. Correctly. Okay, great. So we'll create using their Laravel example app. Installers global composer dependency. Interesting. So you can use that's interesting. So you can use the Laravel standalone installer if you wanted to instantiate Laravel apps for you. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do this. Composer create project. Oh, that's funny. See, okay, so this is the wonderful thing about running everything in Lando is that for most projects, I don't need Composer on my native computer, so I'm going to install Composer. This is also a newer computer, so my old Intel Mac would have had it on it, but I do not have do not have Composer installed on my computer, which is funny. What was the other thing that actually? I mean, they want PHP. That's okay. Yeah. I guess what I could have done actually. So thinking about it, in fact, thinking about it, yeah, what I'm going to want to do. I don't actually want to install Composer, though. I'm going to let this finish just so I don't explode myself. Um, what I'm going to do, just to make this fun, is I'm actually going to. So I'm going to. We've already have this Lando file here, so I'm going to start up Lando. Oh no, that's okay. Here, let's. I think what this is I'm running Lando from source right now. So I'm kind of in a weird spot because I actually mess around with Lando code, and I'm running Lando from source, and I think I'm maybe missing the PHP plugin that John recently split out. So basically, my local Lando setup is not up to date with where Lando is, and probably doesn't have the PHP 8.1. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to modify Rory's file here really quick and just maybe downgrade to 8.0 because I think from those Laravel docs we saw, you can still run Laravel 9. What's going on now? Okay, so we got another, yet another, yeah, unsupported service, says node 16. Oh, interesting. I wonder, I didn't think that node 16 would be a problem. Let's just try going back to, I think, node 14 and see if that will work for us. Is that even a version of node? I don't know. Let's find out. So what did this say? PHP version 8.1. That must be. Is there another? There must be another service in our Lambda file that's using PHP.1. Yes, Horizon is. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Yeah, maybe I should have made this easier on myself and just did his example straight up. Although even that would have, I guess we would have watched that fail the same way, because I need to actually get my Lambda stuff in here. So that turbo mode, by the way, this is the excludes. That's what's going on here. Is it's saying, okay, like I'm going to sync whatever you have in vendor and node modules once, but then I'm not going to pay attention to it after that. That's what it's doing. That's why you're seeing turbo mode. Turbo snail. Okay. So right now we're pulling all the containers down. And what I'm hoping to do once this instantiates is I'm actually hoping to run the necessary install commands for Laravel within my Lando environment. I'm going to try running Lando composer create project Laravel example app and see if that works to actually get the code base for Laravel 9 installed. It's interesting. Why is it? I wonder what. Oh, it's probably. Trying to think like why. We'll see. I'm wondering where they use because we don't have a composer file in this repo right now. I'm kind of curious where why it's downloading these. Yeah, I'll have to maybe see about that. Maybe like I'm trying to think if we like pre-bake those into the app server container for the Laravel recipe. That'd be interesting to go look at the Laravel recipe and see how that's set up. I wouldn't. That doesn't seem right to me, but maybe that's what's going on. Okay. Yeah. And it's actually trying. Okay, so in this, I'm guessing this actually might be some part of his build steps. Let's take a quick look. Actually, this is why you should always understand the Lando file that you're running. I guess, at least before you make a video about it. But let's see here. What's he doing? App server build, composer install. Yeah, and that's sort of the piece I don't get totally is that we don't have a file that Composer install would run on. I don't know how we would know, but let's find out. Let's see. Okay, so this is tooling commands. Yay! Everyone loves tooling commands. Okay, well, that didn't tell me exactly what I want. Okay, cool. But our infrastructure has spun up. I'm assuming that these are, it's not getting a response from these because we just don't have anything there for it to really talk about. So I think what we can now try to do, I'm just kind of curious, what's in Vendor right now? Well, nothing's in that because we excluded it. I'm going to do a Lando SSH and just take a look at what's in Vendor. Nothing's Vendor, so I'm not actually sure what that composer install was. Anyway, we are going to run the suggested install commands within Lando and see how far that gets us. So when I run Lando composer, Lando composer create project Laravel example app. Let's get this at the top of my screen just to make it a little easier for us to see. Okay. This should be running within my app server container, I believe, service, and it should do its stuff. Okay, so it doesn't have enough permissions to delete app vendor. Interesting. And that is working it. That's kind of curious that it deletes your vendor directory. Not sure why. I'm sure there's a reason for that. But anyway, Lando SSH. Let's see if we can remove vendor. Nice resource busy. Is that? I think that might just be what it returns when we're when we do excludes on something. That could very well be why that's happening. I'm actually going to try a rebuild really quick just to see if it matters. Maybe what I'll do too is just for the time being, just in case excludes for some reason is getting in my way, which it shouldn't, but it's possible. I think what I'll do, that really shouldn't be the case. Let's just try a plain rebuild. And rebuild, oops, -7 is not going to do much for this, -y. Okay. Let's see if this does anything to help our whole situation here. Yeah, because traditionally my experience is that when something's excluded, when I run if I run a yarn install or if I run a composer install within the virtualized environment, it just goes. It doesn't have. I don't think I've seen that kind of folder inaccessibility, directory inaccessibility that we're just seeing. So I'm kind of hoping that this might resolve the problem. Pulling node, downloading Horizon. Get all our containers back. While we're waiting for that, I'm going to read a little bit further on in the Laravel installation guide stuff. Make sure to place composer site-wide vendor and directory in your path, located by your system. Find vendor directory in your path. Okay, yeah, and that's just like doing this through the Laravel installer, which we're not going to do. install config, and this is where we would need to put in our, I think this is, well, we would want to use the environmental based configuration to create the .env file like Rory did. So his instructions there would actually be exactly what we want. And we can copy over his end file actually. That actually would probably be a good thing for us to do once we're a little further down the road here. Okay. It's going to take a second for it to determine that our stuff is open. I think there's anything else we should be thinking about while it's doing that. I don't think so. I'm so excited to get my my microphone back. I have this poor appendage of a microphone just waiting to be used, and I forgot a cable somewhere a couple days ago, and so I've had this echoey webcam mic that I'm using. I apologize for the dirtiness of the sound. No one likes dirty sound. Okay. Is this thing done? The thing is done. Okay, let's try this one more time. Just try the composer create project. If it doesn't work, tempted to just bail. Yeah, so we're getting the same thing. I'm tempted actually to do. This may actually be something that's funky with the setup, but let's check out. Let's try just doing Rory's default Laravel 8 just so I can actually see a win out of this thing. And his was, oh shoot, what was his? Local dev with Lando, I think. So many Lando directories in my workspace folder. You would think I did Lando things. Common mistake people make. Okay, so we're going to modify. We're just going to downgrade some things because of my weird setup with Lando, which is definitely one of the things that's sort of hindering us right now. We're going to try modifying those. And let's just, let's do a start on this. Take a few. Although it's interesting, it's the same app name as the other app that we're already running. That's going to be a little interesting. That doesn't create any problems. Downloading all this stuff. I'm curious too, like on his in his README. Yeah, so that's everything we should need to do with this particular repo. Looking good. That's more promising. Got Mix actually running. Yeah, I should just trusted Rory, got his thing running, and then maybe tried to upgrade it to Laravel 9. Then we could have made this a nice snappy video. Not all the snide comments from me. Oh. If you've watched any of the other videos from this week, by the way, you'll notice my hair is much shorter. You can tell the caseload of COVID cases in my immediate vicinity by the length of my hair is a really good hallmark. So when caseload goes down, my hair gets shorter. So it's weird how that happens. It's pretty awesome though. I live in a rural area and we have like a the town that I'm next to is just kind of like a little strip of like a grocery store, a school, and a barbershop is like basically what it is. And the barbershop is like kind of where everyone just, like comes in, they talk about all their stories and everything. It was pretty funny. It's like talking to, there's this old guy that came in. He didn't even need a haircut. He was just like, he's an old bachelor and he just kind of comes in and he talks to the barber. So it's you pay for not just the haircut, but the experience is what I'm saying. So if you think my hair looks terrible, well, it was all for the entertainment value. Cool. Okay, so this is spun up. It looks like we're still getting a red. I'm curious why. Oh, interesting. He must have. These must be some of his custom domains. That makes sense. Okay. Let's see actually if this. I think this should just boot up. Yeah, sweet. Okay, so we got a Laravel 8 install. Yay! On our Laravel 9 video, we have a working Laravel 8 install. Wow. Oh, victory. Okay. This coding thing, even the easy things are, there's ins and outs. Ins and outs. I'm kind of curious. I'm tempted. Oh, I want to do it, but I've probably already gone on too long on this video. Well, at least you kind of got to see a working Laravel install with a pretty complicated, pretty full featured Lando file. This Lando file that Rory's put together. This thing is this is more than you would typically see. And there's a lot of cool things in here. Like I'm not saying that as he went overboard here. He wanted to show off stuff. Obviously, I get that impression at least from he wanted to show all the stuff you can do. And this is a really good case study in a lot of different Lando features. So hats off to him. I need to go watch his presentation because I'm kind of interested to see the man himself do it. I recommend you do the same. I'm sure they're going to be releasing Laracon videos. I don't think they did them instantly. I think that's something they do later. Maybe they try to make you pay for it for a little while. I forget how they do that. But yeah, definitely recommend checking out his presentation, following him. Follow us, follow Lando, Dev with Lando on Twitter, Dev with Lando on Twitch. Twitch, you can come and watch me do this stuff live. And obviously, if you're watching this later, you're probably watching it on YouTube, which you can get all of our compiled history of videos. I'm trying to do one of these videos every weekday. We'll see. Maybe I'll do one on the weekend. I don't know. People do stuff on the weekend. Maybe they do. But I'll try to do one of these each day. And you can kind of watch as I poke around with different things in Lando that I just don't normally get a chance to do. This is stuff that, I'm usually working on weird things like our documentation or the website. And I'm usually trusting smarter people than me, like Mike Pirog and John Ouellette, the co-maintainers of Lando. Like they're the folks that are usually more in the nitty gritty. So these videos are just a really fun way for me to kind of poke around, oftentimes with things that are a little more surface level, but sometimes diving down. So yeah, definitely follow us on all those places. And I hope to see you around in our next video. Have a great weekend.